Hi Year 2, welcome to another literacy lesson. Before we get started, I want you to make sure as always that you have got your pencil or pen and a piece of paper because I like to ask you questions whilst we're doing our learning. When you've got that ready, we're going to start off with our vocab blast. Now I've got some new words to look at today in our vocab blast. And we're going to talk about them one at a time. So this first one, I've got a little man here and he's holding a magnifying glass. He's looking at something. The definition of this word is find, which means the word that we are looking at is discover. Discover. Can you say discover? I'll say it and then you can say it. Discover. 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 Fantastic. So this is discover and it means find. The next word that we've got here, I've got a picture of a hook. That's because the word is hooked. So it's hook with that ed on the end. What do we know about ed on the end of words? It makes something past tense. It does, well done. But in this case, it's not a past tense word because it's an adjective. So we're saying that something is hooked. It is curved like a hook. Okay? So that's what hooked is. Let's repeat that word, hooked. Hooked. Hooked, hooked, hooked. Amazing. So the word hooked means something that is curved like a hook. We're describing something and it's curved like a hook. Next word, we've got recently. What's that word? Fantastic. I've got a picture of a clock going back. Recently means not long ago. So not a very, very, very long time ago. A little bit of time ago. So not very long ago. Recently, something that happened recently. What's that word again? Amazing. What's this one? Hooked, well done. What's this one? Discover, well done. Let's look at this one. I've got a man here, he's hidden in the shadows, we can't quite see his face. This word means difficult to identify, that's why we can't quite see his face. He's difficult to identify, it's difficult to figure out who it is. He is mysterious. Mysterious. Can you say mysterious? Mysterious. Fantastic. So that is mysterious, something that's difficult to identify. And the last word, I've got a picture of this strange looking bird and it says extinct. Can you say the word extinct? Extinct. Extinct. So extinct means something that no longer exists. And we're going to find out a little bit more about that in a minute. Now, we've talked about what each of these words are. I'm going to super quick cover up those words and let's see if you can remember what they are using the picture and the definition to help you. So what's this first one? It means find, it is discover, well done. What is this one? It means curved like a hook. Fantastic, it is hooked. What's this one? It means not long ago. Recently, fantastic. What is this one? It means difficult to identify. That word is mysterious, fantastic. And the last one, no longer exists. It is extinct. Brilliant, well done, Year 2. So now that we've talked about what each of those words mean, I have just kept the pictures and the words and I want you to see if you can match those up to the correct ones. If you want to pause the video and draw a little picture and write the word next to it, then you can. If you just want to have a quick think about which one means which, then you can do that too. Pause your video, we'll talk about the answers in a second. Okay, let's join those words up. We've got this one, this picture of a man holding a magnifying glass. What word is that? Discover, brilliant. We've got this picture of a hook. That's a nice easy one. It's hooked, well done. We've got this picture of this bird. I wonder what that is going to have to do with this word. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. What's that word? Extinct, fantastic. We've got this one of a clock looking backwards. That word is recently. And we've got this last one of this man who is difficult to identify. He's being very mysterious. Brilliant start. Okay, so now that we've talked about those words, I've got a letter from the Natural History Museum. They have written to us, they've seen all of our fantastic posters that we made yesterday, and they've written to us. So we're going to read through this. Now I'm going to read it, and when we get to a word that's been highlighted, we're going to stop and check that we know what those words mean. Now we should know what they mean because we've just talked about some of them. There's one that we've not talked about, but I'm hoping you can remember what that is from our geography lesson from last week. So, dear Year 2 children at Byron Wood Academy, we have heard that you recently, what does that mean? Not long ago. So we have heard that you recently discovered, that means we found something, okay. We have heard that you've recently found a mysterious, what does mysterious mean? Fantastic, something that's hard to identify. So we have heard that you recently discovered a mysterious footprint in your classroom. I am writing because we believe we know what the animal is. The footprint belongs to a type of bird called a dodo. The dodo bird looked like a large grey turkey with a hooked beak. Hooked. Looked like a hook, well done. Although the dodo was a bird, it could not fly. Dodos could only be found on the island of Mauritius, just off the coast of Africa. Coast? Can anyone remember from our geography lesson? It's where the land meets the sea. They ate fruit, nuts, seeds, and even shellfish. However, the dodo bird has been extinct for over 350 years. So extinct, it meant it no longer exists. So there aren't any dodo birds left in the world today. I wonder if that picture that went with our word in our vocab blast was a picture of a dodo bird. This means that there are no more of them left in the world, so I'm not quite sure how one ended up in your classroom. If you would like to find out more about dodos, we have attached a short fact file for you to read. Kind regards, the Natural History Museum. That fact file will be on the website for you, just in case you do want to have a look at it. So, the dodo, a mysterious bird that no longer exists because it's gone extinct. That's crazy. Now, in today's lesson, we are going to be writing exclamation sentences about the dodo and the things that we've just learned about him. But before we can do that, we need to recap the different types of sentences that we have already learned about. So, these might be a question, a command, or a statement. So a sentence that gives information, which one is it? Is it a question, a command, or a statement? Something that gives information. It's a statement. Well done if you remembered that. So a statement is a sentence that gives information. What type of sentences ask for information? So they're asking us something, that's your clue. Those sentences are called questions. Brilliant, well done if you remembered that too. So the last one, a sentence that gives an instruction, so tells somebody to do something, is a command. But there are 4 types of sentences, and the 4th one are exclamation sentences, and those are the ones that we're going to be looking at today. So an exclamation is a sentence that expresses a high level of emotion or excitement, and we were learning about that in our vocab blast the other day, so hopefully you remember what that one was. But we don't know how to write them yet, so we need to learn, okay? We're going to start. I need you to get your hand with your 5 fingers. To write an exclamation, we have 5 things. Touch your thumb. The first thing that we have is what or how. That starts our exclamation sentence. They always start with what or how. What do they start with? What or how. Well done. The second thing that they have is an adjective. What do they have? An adjective. Well done. So they have what or how with our thumb, and our next finger is adjective. After that adjective, we have a noun. What do we have? A noun. Fantastic. So what or how, adjective, noun. That's what we've got so far. The 4th thing that we have is a verb. What do we have? A verb. Brilliant. And the last thing that we have is our exclamation mark. and that's on your little finger, an exclamation mark. I'm going to point to my fingers and I'm going to say them out loud, and I want you to tell me what each of those things is that we need to have in our exclamation sentence. So the first thing that we need to have on our thumb is what or how. Well done. The next thing that we need to have, which goes on our finger, is an adjective. Well done. The next thing that we need to have, the third thing, is a noun. Brilliant. The fourth thing that we need to have on our next finger is a verb. And the last thing that we need to have on our little finger is an exclamation mark. Well done. A good way to help us remember this and help us figure out how to make an exclamation sentence is fairy tales, because lots of fairy tale sentences use exclamation. We're going to read these together with our kung fu punctuation, and we're going to point out the different things that we've got. Okay, so let's read the first one together. Remember your kung fu punctuation. How sharp your teeth are, Grandma. Whee! Bang. How sharp your teeth are, Grandma. That's from Little Red Riding Hood, I think. It's got a how at the beginning. We can have a what or a how. That's the first thing that we've got. Then it's got an adjective. Then it's got a noun, a verb, and at the end an exclamation mark. As you can see, there are some other words in there as well, but it still makes an exclamation sentence. Let's read the next one together. What big eyes you have. Whee! Bang. We've got all of those things in there again. We've got our what at the beginning, adjective, noun, verb, exclamation mark. Let's read the next one. Don't forget your kung fu punctuation. What a wonderful day it was. Whee! Bang. What comes first, then our adjective, then our noun, then our verb, then our exclamation mark. And the last one, let's read it together. How silly you are. Whee! Bang. Now this one hasn't got any other words in it. It's just got the 4 words that we need and our exclamation mark at the end. It's got a how, an adjective, a noun, a verb, and our exclamation mark. Now these are quite tricky, so don't worry if you're finding it a bit hard at the moment, because we're going to go through some more together. Right, we are going to look at these sentences and we're going to use our hand and those 5 things that we know go in an exclamation sentence to help us tell whether or not these are exclamation sentences or a different type of sentence. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the sentence and I want you to shout yes if it's an exclamation sentence and no if it's not an exclamation sentence, and then we'll talk about the answers. Are we ready? Good listening and good looking to find out if it's got those things that we need for an exclamation sentence. You are so beautiful. Yes or no? It's a no for that one. Even though it's got an exclamation mark at the end, it is not an exclamation because it does not start with what or how. Well done if you noticed that. Let's have a look at the next one. What a lovely smile you have. Yes, it is an exclamation sentence. Well done. It has our what at the beginning, and then it has our adjective, lovely. It has our noun, smile, and it has our verb, have. What a lovely smile you have, exclamation mark. It's got the what and the exclamation mark and the adjective, noun and verb, so it must be an exclamation sentence. Well done if you got that one right. Remember, shout yes if it's an exclamation sentence and no if it's not. What a wonderful day it has been. Yes, it is an exclamation sentence. It's got those same things again. It's got our what, our adjective, which is wonderful, our noun, which is day, and our verb. Well, there's quite a few we can choose from here. We've got has been, and our exclamation mark to finish. Next sentence, yes for an exclamation, no for it's not. How was your day? No, it's not an exclamation, that one. It does start with a how, but it's got a question mark at the end. This one is a question. And here is our last one. How beautiful you are. Is it an exclamation sentence? Yes or not? No. Yes, it is an exclamation sentence. It starts with a how, this one. And then it's got our adjective, beautiful, our noun, you, and our verb, are. Well done if you got those right. Now, we're going to be writing these exclamation sentences about the dodo in a second, but to be able to do that, we need to think about how we describe the dodo bird. So, I'm going to read out this text that I've got here, and as I'm going along, I'm going to highlight the things that I think are a description of the dodo bird. Get your pencil ready, because what I want you to do whilst you're listening is write anything that you think is a description. Okay, so it's describing the dodo bird, and I'm going to highlight them too. You can pause it whilst I'm talking. It's entirely up to you how you want to do this. It looked like a large grey turkey with a hooked beak. So I could write down that it had a hooked beak, it was large, and it was grey. Dodos couldn't fly, so they were a flightless bird, they couldn't fly. The dodo bird has been extinct since 1662, that's over 350 years ago. Now that is a fact, but it's not got a description in it, okay? It's not describing how that animal looks or how it acts. They lived on Mauritius, an island next to Africa. They ate fruit, nuts and seeds and shellfish. They had no natural predators. They made their nests on the ground, and they only laid one egg once a year. That's really strange. Dodos had no fear of humans. So that means they must have been very brave. And it says perhaps this is part of the reason they are now extinct. Scientists believe that dodos could run fast, so they were fast runners, because their legs look like they were designed for running. There are very few remains of the dodo left for scientists to study. So, make sure you've written down a couple of those things as a description. I've been highlighting them as I've gone along, okay? And as you can see, I've written down some things there as well that I've pulled out, things to describe the dodo. So now that we've got those descriptions, we need to think about how we can turn them into an exclamation sentence. We're going to have a little go in a minute, but we're going to talk about some examples because I know that this can be really tricky. So the first word that we've got is unusual. So that's the thing that describes the dodo. That's going to be our adjective. Okay, so now we need to decide if we're going to start with what or how. I've done an example and it starts with what. What an unusual bird it was. Let's check that that has got all of the parts that it needs to be an exclamation sentence. So what? Perfect. It starts with what. And unusual. Now we know unusual is our adjective. Bird. Is that a noun? Yes, fantastic it is, because it's an animal. It was. Is was a verb? Fantastic it is, because it tells us what it was. And then it's got that exclamation at the end. If you would like to, have a quick jot down on your piece of paper. Can you do an exclamation sentence that starts with how for unusual? How unusual? How could we end that sentence? Have a try. How unusual it was. Long legs. So again, we can choose what or how. What long legs it has. Fantastic. Just like in a fairy tale. What long legs it had. How. How. What could we do with how? How long its legs were. Round beak. So it had a round beak, so that's our adjective and our noun. So what a round beak it had. Again, they're really easy to make once you get the hang of it, these. How round its beak was. Brave. What brave birds they were. Or what a brave bird it was. Oh, I forgot my exclamation mark on that one. And how brave it was. So they all follow that pattern. I'm going to read them again just so that you can get a feel for what those exclamation sentences sound like. What an unusual bird it was. How unusual it was. What long legs it had. How long its legs were. What a round beak it had. How round its beak was. What a brave bird it was. How brave it was. And that's what exclamation sentences sound like. Okay, I'm going to quickly talk you through the challenges for today, and then you can make a start on your main activity. So, if you're having a go at the 3-star challenge today, I want you to write 3 exclamation sentences about the dodo bird. Have a look on the website. On the website, you'll find an information sheet about the dodo bird that we've just talked through. You'll find the word map and the hand to help you remember how to make those sentences. I want you to write 3 exclamation sentences about the dodo bird. What a round beak it had. Okay, something like that. I want you to write 3 exclamation sentences about the dodo bird. Remember to choose the 3-star challenge on the website if you're having a go at that one. If you're going to do the 2-star challenges, I want you to also write 3 exclamation sentences about the dodo bird, but you can use the Communicate Imprint mats to help you. So, just like we do when we're in school, you're going to choose the words first and then you're going to write the sentence down. So, what? Fast, strange, big or tall? I think I'm going to go for strange. What strange legs or beaks? I think beaks because they were strange. They looked really hooked and unusual. What strange beaks they had? And that is my sentence. I'm going to read it again to check it makes sense. What strange beaks they had! Exclamation mark. And then I could write that sentence down. Again, I want you to write 3 so you can decide if you want to write 2 what and 1 how, or 2 how and 1 what. Okay? And then finally, we've got our 1-star challenge. Ooh, that looks a bit silly. Sorry about that. Write 3 exclamation sentences about the dodo bird again. But you've got the sentences already there for you. You just need to choose which things go in which places. I have put the exclamation marks on so you can cut them out and stick them like we do in school, or if you don't have access to a printer to print it off, you can just write them on. Okay? And I want you to choose which ones make sense. What something something they had? Well, we know that's going to be an exclamation mark, so I could put an exclamation mark there. What brave, tall, strange, big or hooked? Well, brave legs and brave beaks wouldn't make sense, so I'm not going to use brave. But tall legs might make sense, so I could have tall legs. What tall legs they had? Remember, a sentence needs to start with a capital letter, so you might want to think about changing those as well. I hope that all makes sense. If you've got any questions, you can just ask your adults to email us, just like you would normally, and I just can't wait to see what things you come up with. Remember, you can rewind if you need to listen to any of this again, and if you're struggling, have another look at the video. Thanks everybody, see you later, bye!